Good evening and welcome to Phil Goes Deep. And tonight's episode is QUIBExperience. What I learned this week, episode 1. So I'm going to be again looking at UI Builder on Quebec and basically running through some of my lessons learned from this week, pointing you hopefully in the direction. And I'm very pleased to say that I've got a very special guest with us, joined by none other than the man like Brad Tilton. So before I bring him in, I'm just going to apologise for any technical issues. I think as well, I'm seeing Zoom now as an audio source, so I'll try and avoid that duplication of audio. I hope it sounds all right. Let me just check on YouTube. Are we live? Yes, right. Brad, let me cut you in. Hey Brad, you should be on the screen.
All right. Hello.
How's it going? Thanks for coming on. Thanks for bearing with
Yeah,
me.
thanks for having me.
So yeah, apologies to you and everyone that might be watching and see all the technical faults that are about to go ahead. How long have you got tonight, Brad? Because I normally go for 2, 3, sometimes 3.5 hours, and I don't want to keep you that long.
I think I've got about an hour. So yeah, till it's 3 my time till about 4 my time.
We'll keep it for an hour. If you can watch the clock and make sure I don't get too carried away, because that seems to be my problem, and I don't know if anyone ever watches them back, but sometimes some of these streams go on for, like I say, quite late, and in the UK it's just gone 9 o'clock, so we don't want to keep everyone going on. So tonight's episode is about UI Builder, and one of my main lessons learned. Oh, hold on a second. Apologies. Yeah, audio sounds all right, so that's good. My lessons learned. Firstly, the one thing that I've learned that I am recommending to everybody is to read the manual. There are a lot of documents out there. You've written 3, 4 blogs now, I think.
Yeah, 4, 5 actually, I think today. We
Okay.
did another one today, so I think that was 5, yeah.
I've not seen today's one. Okay, so you're not the only one that's posted one today as well. I've seen that Ashley, ashleysn.com, she's just posted something else.
Yeah, hers was awesome today.
I've not read any of it, so I don't know. What's in your new blog? Let's talk about that briefly.
Ooh, that's a good question. What did I write about? Mine is I think I'm using events, client state parameters, and client scripts, all working together to do something.
Okay, excellent, because that's
Wrote it earlier in the week and then moved on, so I don't remember exactly.
well, that's the bit I'm struggling with actually. So that's great that you're
Nice.
here. So I'm not sure when I switch the screen whether that screws anything up. I'm just looking at the YouTube description I added. So I've added a link to Brad's blogs. Is anyone else going to be contributing to them, or is it just you that's responsible for the UI Builder stuff now?
I think we'll have more. We'll have some more people writing about them. I don't know. We'll probably have Andrew and Chuck writing something at some point, and then hopefully get some more expert people in to write about it as well. More expert than any of the dev advocates. So hopefully we get some of the engineers who actually built it to contribute something.
That'll be excellent. So I'll stop calling them Brad's blogs and call them the UI Builder blogs on the developer site. Right? ServiceNow docs, there is a whole raft of documentation on there. And then I've also linked to a few other blogs that I found from the community. So Ashley SN about Gmodal last week, and then somebody posted somewhere about ServiceNow Ninja. That's quite a nice guided step through. I'm not sure if there's additional detail, so I'm looking for trying to get deeper and go underneath and work out what's going on behind the scenes. So that's what I seemed. It's great to follow it and go, right, I've built something, but trying to understand what's happening behind it, that's the bit that I feel like I'm struggling with. So
Yeah.
My main point today, if I say what we're trying to achieve, is to just basically build a new page using one of the templates and connecting the parameters. And I think for me, that's like, I felt like a massive win the other day when I did that. But then when I'm looking at them, I'm looking at client script stuff, and I really don't know what's going on there. So maybe it's prime time to have you on the show, Brad. So let's try and switch over. I need to share my Zoom screen. Let's switch this back over. One moment. Let's just try give the audience a good experience. It's all about experience in 2021, right? Let me share my screen on Zoom and hide. I've now got myself in there. I thought I could hide myself. There we go. Excellent. And that's active speaker. Can you just speak?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Sweet. Okay. And I think I've got you on the screen. So let's just check on live chat. Yeah, we've got a few viewers, not as many as Live Code and Happy Hour, but hopefully if we keep it to the hour, people will want to watch this back, and hopefully we can achieve something in that hour. So I'm just going to switch you over. You can see my screen, right, on Zoom?
I can see it on Zoom, yeah.
So everyone on YouTube should see my browser, should see me in the bottom of the screen and Brad in the top of the screen. So I think we're doing okay, and hopefully they can hear us. So I haven't had a sound check from anybody. Oh, James Foot's on the line. Yes, James, how you doing? When are we getting a survey component for UIB? And James, can you just let us know you can hear everything, see everything, because this is a first time for me, and I just want to check some audience participation, and we'll try and answer that question for you as well. So
I don't have an answer to that question. I have no idea. I don't have a lot of roadmap UIB info right now. Yeah,
I've got a what I'm thinking here. Thanks, James, for checking on the sound. What I'm thinking here is the assess. When you say survey component, you mean the take assessment functionality. You mean like from ServiceNow, GRC, control attestation, the survey widget, yeah? That is a custom UI page with loads of logic in there. I assume at the pace stuff's going with UI Builder that's where the iframe component's going to come into it, and that's what I was playing with last week. I think the ability to actually open a survey page as a component in an iframe. That's what I'm seeing as kind of round one. I mean, if you haven't seen it on a roadmap, that's what I'm thinking. But then the advanced risk assessment stuff is now in its own page. So that isn't using the survey widget. So I'm kind of looking at it going, where's this going to go? It's kind of at a fork in the road. But survey and everything else is still so core. But yeah, I try not to get distracted either by deep questions. But James, Brad doesn't know the answer, and I'm guessing. How's that? So
yeah, it'll be it'll be a future release when I think one of the BUs builds a portal that needs the survey component. We'll have a survey component, but I don't know when that'll be.
Okay, you can't say fairer than that. So on scope, Brad, so this is one thing that worries me. I'm always working in a lot of scopes with GRC. If I build something in UI Builder, okay, so you can see here, this is in an application, custom application scope I built myself, PGD1. If I am in the platform in like GRC profiles, what's going to happen here is if I go into this, because you've got scope at the top right, if I just move you a little bit, yeah, okay, so it tells me, I mean, so if I switch scope here, it's switching scope in my whole session.
I believe that is how it should work. It should switch your whole session. I don't think you can be in multiple scopes.
Okay.
So if you switch, like if you go back over and refresh, I bet it has switched you in the platform view.
Let's check that. Okay. I just get very nervous with
Yeah.
scopes. Okay. Excellent. Well, this is a custom app, so I don't need to worry too much about update sets right now, and I'm the only one on the instance. So this is actually what is Brad in the right place? Yeah. This is what I was building actually the other day, last week. So if I go to controls page and open it, and this is I kept having to go back to like start from scratch, in create a new page and start from scratch, and then I felt like I was missing out on a load of stuff. So I've got a control here. If I can see that one's in review, that suggests it will have an attestation. So I open that control. There's a bit of a delay there. I've got the attestation here. If I click this, then it's taking me to a UI frame which is embedded that survey component. So it's not the best look and feel. I feel like there's some dependencies in that UI page that aren't pulling through in here. But that's what I've built, and I think that's what James is referring to. But let's create a new page. The other day I was talking to you, Brad. I was trying to create one for update sets, for handling update sets, and in that case it wasn't a task. So some of the templates are dependent on tasks.
Yeah, and I would say at this point most of the templates are there. How do I say this? A lot of them are there like specifically for building a workspace against a table extended from tasks. So like the CSM configurable workspace is a thing they released with Quebec, and a lot of the templates are related to that workspace. So I would expect, and I don't know for sure, I would expect to see more page templates as we release more workspaces and portals in the future.
Is there anything you can share on that for anyone? Is there any details that you've got that are publicly available? Or is it
as far as what's coming in the future,
like when we might see more templates, when other applications might be due to release stuff using the new UI Builder experience?
I don't have any details on that at the moment, and I actually don't know. We're kind of in a weird place where I've been cramming for UI Builder Quebec stuff, and we're a little early for me to see demos of what's coming in Rome. So we're probably a month away from me knowing more about those kinds of things.
No problem. I thought I'd ask. I know I was putting you on the spot there. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do with a classic task scenario in GRC. I tend to stick to what I know. I don't have any custom apps in here, and in this dev instance that are of any use, and I haven't thought about a use case. The first thing that comes to mind is the issues, right? Issues are tasks in GRC. So I'm creating a new page called issues. I'm going to select a page template here. So for me, I would be drawn to list or simple list. But one of the things I've learned this week for list is that there's a bit more configuration required. And I remembered it from Agent Workspace as well. And I could only solve it by going into the back end. So maybe there's a front end like UI Builder view for this. Are you aware, or is it?
I'm not sure. I haven't messed with the list page template too much.
Okay.
I mean, we could try it out and see what's there.
We'll have a try. What's your recommendation here? I know you said, and I love the expression, in a vacuum, right? There's not much difference, right, between these two. However, I know if I click this, I felt like I couldn't then do anything. I couldn't actually set it up. So is it possible for me to set up my own custom page and keep it out of the box, but still push in my own parameters using this default upgrade safe option?
Yeah, so the big difference is that if you reference a page, I believe on the back end, it's not actually creating you a page. It's just pointing you to another page. And the way that you'd work with that is you'd create page parameters to input into that page. And that would be how you work with it, but you can't customize it at all. So you wouldn't be able to add anything to the page. You can't move anything around. So basically, if you need to use a page as is, that's a pretty good option. If you think you're going to have to, customize it at all, then you need to use copy the contents of the template, which just creates you a copy, and then you're good to go from there.
I'm going to go with this top one because this is the one I've struggled with the most, and you're here to support me. So let's see, because this is the bit that I got a bit stuck on. It felt like, so at this point in time, I've created the page, required parameters. I don't know what I've required because I haven't looked at the page. So I've got to I can close this and come back to it. It's fine, right? I can go from here, and then in this section next to pages, this section, I can edit required parameters. So it's not difficult.
Yeah.
If I go to data sources and shout to GC from last week, who was keeping me on track as well, down here, if I click this, it was showing me I felt like it was showing me an error last time when I tried to do this. It might have been that it wasn't a task page, or was it this one? Something went wrong. Please check your input properties. So
it's telling you there that it doesn't have that context.app. That's not I think that list navigation information is the one that you want.
Okay.
That other data resource. Yeah.
Okay.
So that one, it's referencing two properties, tiny ID and list ID. And so those would be page properties. What it's expecting there, the list ID, I'm not quite sure.
So I think there are some list stuff for UI Builder in the background. Maybe it's not related list option. I might have to go into the UI. Just keep an eye on the chat as well, because sometimes somebody knows stuff already. They've already done the digging. I can't remember the. I don't have. I told you this is a different instance or a different profile, so I can't log in.
Oh yeah,
that's fine. I'll tell you what. This is how I find stuff out on the instance anyway. If you don't know something and it doesn't tell you in the docs, just start digging around. So I'm going to just look for something beginning with list or something containing list in the tables, and I can kind of remember what it looked like, but not confident enough. Like workspace list. Okay, I think workspace list here, sysaw list. I want to get to the lists. Show list here. I think. Yeah, look at this. Assigned to me, and these belong to workspaces. So risk accepted. I don't even know what that is. So let me create a new list just because then it's in my scope, and I'll give it a list name and just call it PGD. Category. I can find. To create category, I'm going to create my own category as well. And I always think it's worth doing this. If you're doing it in Flow Designer as well, if you don't have the category, create it there and then you can keep using it. Don't leave stuff blank. You can rearrange it afterwards. I mean, you can't leave this category blank anyway, it's mandatory. So my table is going to be issue, right? SNGRC issue. And it's got default columns in there. Order, I can't see behind Brad here. Order 100. Oops, order 100. I always use 100, 200.
Me too.
You give yourself a lot more like wiggle room later on.
Yeah.
Maybe 10, 20 if you can't be bothered to type that extra zero, but just 100 and fix it up later. But don't do 1, 2, 3. You're going to be boxed in. That's my kind of approach to it anyway. So I'm creating a workspace list. I think then that workspace list should be my ID. So if I can copy that sys ID And Servos has just asked, what is the dynamic routing list and when should we use it? So good question. Let's put a required parameter in here, and it needs to be called. So everything you create as a required parameter or any parameter is context.props dot. So I need list ID. I'm just going to add that. Sorry, it already added. So if I save this, and if I put my list ID there, it feels wrong to be putting that in the required parameter. But I should have a list now. So let me open this and see if that is the same list. So this is what I found the other day. I had to keep going back into the platform to deal with the list side of things.
So the other thing that you can look at is that data resource, I believe, should be able to preview something for you if you like click out of it and click into it again, if it's getting data.
Oh, okay, because I've changed my parameter.
Yeah, well, maybe not. What list navigation information?
Okay, so I have passed in a list ID there. Maybe I don't have. I wish I could access my other instance. I just don't have anything in my history right now. Got an attribute. So I've added a list name, category. So it might be this one. Let's try passing this sysID in there. Is there anywhere particular that errors are logged, or does everything just go onto the main log for UIB if you start breaking stuff? Is it?
I'm not sure where. Not sure what this would log, because it's probably just failing because it's not getting the both props passed to it, maybe.
Okay.
Trying to see if I can find that data resource record.
I mean, this is the thing. When we start getting templates coming out of the box that we can look at and see, oh, that's how you're using it, then we've got something to kind of go by. But right now we're I think quite a few people are shooting in the dark, but all the docs are really helping. Just, I think we've got to figure it out, and then we'll find out the proper way of doing it when it comes out of the box, and we'll learn loads along the way. So that's my hope. I just no idea what tiny URL ID would be either.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is either.
I'm going to just try and check, because I did do something on an instance the other day, and now I can't get into it. If I can just get the URL. No, I'm guessing, and I know there's one or two characters out of it. Okay, that's a lesson learned for next time, right? If you've done something, built something, remember what instance it was on. So this list stuff, I know it's something to do with that, but let's move forward. So what I'll do, I'll create a new page, and this is what I've been doing. I'll say, okay, well that didn't quite work. I'll try something else. So the non-simple list, the list page. Why is that? I'm saying I want to save. Okay, cancel. Let me save at the top. It's saved. Okay, there we go. Right, create page. I'm just going to discard changes. I haven't really done anything, and I'll call this issues 2. Very creative. And I'll start this from simple list. And I'm going to keep it at the top because this one, and maybe that's what I did the other day, I didn't keep it upgrade safe. So that meant I could then go in and pass a sysID in, see what it was expecting. I think that's how I figured out. Because when you take those props away, when it's editable, you take those props away and you take the @ context whole thing away, you can then drop down. It's actually a reference field. and you can
Yeah.
select real records, right?
Yeah, so most of those, I guess most of those component properties are, you can either hard code something, whether it's a sysid or a table name or something, or you can, bind that property to either, a page parameter or a client state parameter or something from your data resource. So it's all, pretty dynamic.
Okay. Some of this stuff you say, Brad, makes it sound very easy, and a lot of it is just like you say it, and I watching you on live coding happy hour, and I'm like, okay, I'm following or watching your videos. I'm following, but it's not quite bedding into me yet. I'm still getting my head around all the different parts. So I think I'm going to need to like hear it a few times, and it's going to start making sense. But I've got a very simple page here, simple list.
Yeah, for this one, I would click into where it says list one under your content.
Okay, right. That's my component.
And then, yeah, look at the config. So it's looking for list title, table, and query. And so those hopefully are a little easier to.
We can figure that stuff out.
Right.
So, and there's state, and state is what you've just written about or just published today, yeah?
State, if you go down to the bottom left, that middle icon, all the way on the blue bar on the left, the middle one.
This one.
Yeah.
What's this bar called?
That
don't worry.
That is, I don't know what the blue left bar, I don't know. But so these are your client state parameters here. So these are basically, this is, if you think of your UI builder page like a big component, this is, how you're managing state. So this is how you can share data between your different components, is through the client state parameters. So kind of like a workflow scratch pad, where you're just, writing a value, and you can write to the client state from basically any event or event handler. So yeah, word wrap, I guess this is what, I'm not sure what word wrap on the simple list component does actually.
I'm guessing if you've got a description field, it wraps it rather than ellipsis and truncate. But let me just play that back. The client state parameters.
Oh, it is a Boolean. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, the client state parameters is effectively a scratchpad in the client within the page for the whole page.
The whole page, yeah. So you can write to that client state parameter and access it from any component or event or client script on the page.
Excellent. And there's so much to click in UI Builder. I've never clicked that. That's what it is. I don't think I've got that far either. So I've not read your new blog. I'll share that in the description or comments afterwards and make sure. In fact, it should be in the link. If you click the description now to the audience, what's currently called Brad's blogs will be called UI Builder blogs. When I refer to it, that's just looking for the tag UI Builder. So actually, it should be in there already. If somebody clicks that now, I've just not read the latest one. So we've got, going back to this, we've got three props that we care about. It feels to me like list title doesn't belong in the URL. When I was doing this the other day, it doesn't feel like I want to keep that URL longer because it's quite a lot already. If I say, so edit required parameter, so I've got to keep moving Brad around the screen because there's so much to click.
Yeah, I think so for that one, that's just the title that displays on the list. And because this is a referenced page, that's the only way you can pass data into this page is through the URL parameters. So it's probably not a required parameter. So maybe make that one optional, the title.
Okay, let's make it
My
optional.
guess is that it's, yeah.
And it has to match, and it has to be in camel case, right?
Yes.
Can't, like snake case wouldn't work because I know in Flow Designer it doesn't let you. That's okay. So
it'll give you yeah.
Excellent. So we've got our parameters on the page. It's still read-only page. It's completely out of the box, and if I upgrade to Rome in a few months' time, this will get upgraded with it, and I'll get all the benefit of the new page. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's completely completely safe.
If it's touched in Rome, yeah, the page will change with you.
Excellent. So table, I've called it issues, and this is where I thought of something like the form page in Portal, or some of the list pages in Portal. You actually pass in the table there. It's effectively the same thing where you pass in the table, you pass in the sys and therefore you can use that form page for anything. So me calling this page issues should really just be called list, because it's only when I pass issue in here that it's actually an issue. I do get a weird error here, but it still works. Test values are restricted to alphanumeric.
Yeah. Was there a type on the well, it looks like it worked.
It works, but it doesn't know that it works. Hold on. Edit required parameters. Oh, I better save. Save often, right, Brad?
That's right.
Even if you...
yeah, it looks good.
I can't save. The save button's grayed out. Okay.
Well, yeah, you can't change the page, so...
No, this is my page. I've called it issues too. Okay, well...
Yeah, but it's still... isn't this still... you're letting ServiceNow manage it?
Yes, yep. Read only, page template.
Yeah, so you... Yeah. So you can only change the parameters on it. You can't change anything else.
Okay, so this message...
I would just discard changes.
Let's see if this works. Oh, there we go. Okay, list title. Yeah, there we go. So list title value query. You said, is there a data type? It's just a name.
No, I guess not.
String always.
Oh, I'm thinking the client state parameter has a data type.
Okay, and anything going in the URL, it has to be a string, right? Even if it's not a string.
Yeah, that's right.
It might be an encoded URI, but it doesn't need to be that in UI Builder. Okay, let's see if this works. If I click open, which I can't click because why can't I click it? I've got to pass those in. Did that. GRC issue. So really query should be optional, because
yeah.
And I still can't click open. What does this do then? Okay, so we've set our parameters up. It's called issues 2. Very creative.
Why can't you open that?
I've done something wrong. Have I changed scope? Have I changed scope or something? Created it in PG1? No? Let me just make sure. No. Let me change page. How's that? Let me switch and switch back. Discard changes. Okay, this is issues, and so I can't click open there either, or save, because it's read only. But it says the page template. It's kind of like you said, I think, that it's not creating a page, it's creating like a pointer to the page.
Yeah.
I can't grab it.
And you can't open that in the URL?
Well, issues 2.
Issues 2.
And then let's put the things in. Maybe it's an error there. Active equals true. Oh, look at that. Is it going to work? It looks better. But I feel like I should make the query optional. Well, will that change the format?
It will change the format, but it should be fine.
So if I get rid of it as optional, as required, see, it saves there. It saves required parameters there.
Huh. Interesting.
What's it called? Query.
And it's giving you the, yeah.
It doesn't matter about the order here.
For, yeah, so required params, the order matters. Optional params, the order doesn't matter.
So if I go in here now, I hit that, I assume it will error. Yeah. But if I go query / active equals true.
So I think you need params before query.
Okay. Let's
So I
just check
think
that.
you need to tell it, hey, this is when my optional params are starting.
Perfect.
And
okay.
then you can list those. That should work.
It's looking good. When it starts responding, a bit slower than just a straight red error message.
When you get a loading.
Feels good, yeah, a loading. So list title was my other parameter. So let's put this Phil goes deep. See what it does about the spaces. There we go. I mean, that's how to use an out-of-the-box page template, keeping it read-only, but still passing some parameters in. That feels like a win. I'm only on the water tonight, but I'll have a sip of water to celebrate that. Now, if I click this, nothing's going to happen. So we're not finished yet. I need to hook in some kind of event. So I can't see it here unless I pass in sngrc issue. That should give me some stuff to work with in the page, or at least see me. Yes, okay. Then I can click things. Just looks a bit nicer. Move Brad again. This is a good space to have you. I haven't got that much content on my page, so I'll put Brad down here. The events, right?
Yeah, let's see if there's any events. Row clicked. Can you add an event handler?
No. So is that locked down in the page?
So that seems problematic. Yeah, you have to be able to make it go somewhere. There has to be a solution to this.
So on the non-simple list, there's a client script, and I didn't know where client scripts were. So let's just go back. We'll celebrate this as a win, and go back and create. I'm going to discard changes because I've saved my parameters. I haven't touched the page, so there's nothing to save. So we're going to be on issues 3 right now, and I'm going to use the list, but I'm going to not do it upgrade safe because that allows me to override some of those parameters. But I think if you did this, we'll come back to you. Parameters, I don't know what I need yet. So for example, this one in the data resources, I can take this out, right? And if I take that out, then it gives me.
Oh yeah, does it autocomplete, or is it a string?
I thought it did autocomplete, unless. I just maybe don't have any. Maybe I've been looking in the wrong place for that. Okay, but what I was going to show you when you get your list, which is here. Oh, yeah, there's a bit more content there. You're just going to keep moving around the page, Brad, so people have to keep up. On this list, in event, so if this was read-only, there's a client script here. So if I didn't modify it, I could hang my event from there, and that's going to be down here in client scripts. I just didn't know where to look. Is that?
Yeah, but which one?
List modal? I don't know. List user preference state.
Click on the little horizontal lines with the dots on them on the client scripts. Bring it up and see if it tells you which one it's on your event handler.
This one, right?
Yeah.
Little sliders. They're like little configure.
Configure that.
It's got a name.
So that is there's no client script.
Yeah, it's there.
Like it's not. Well, there's a blank space in your page scripts try clicking on that blank space on the left.
Oh,
Um,
that one, the one with no
yeah,
title.
yeah, there it is. No title.
Give it a name. So hold on. If I just call that Phil right now, right, and then look, yeah, look, there it is.
Oh, there it
It's
goes.
got the
Yeah.
name. So yeah, it's a couple of. We'll shake these. I don't want to. I don't want to break it by giving it a name, but it looks like it's just an anonymous function. Is it? No, that's called function
Yeah,
handler.
so all of these client scripts are, you get these API helpers, event and imports objects. So what this one is doing, um, so it looks like it's building the route and then it is emitting its own event at the end there.
Nav item selected sounds like something to do with navigation.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then did we make a payload? Yeah, so it created so most of the script is creating a payload that we're passing with that nav item selected event.
Okay, and everything that's moving around in UI Builder is effectively some sort of payload, right? It's using the term payload. It's effectively some sort of object that's got
Yeah, so
standard
so
standard
every
elements.
event, yeah, every event has a name and some sort of payload. Um, so that could be like really simple, it could be really complex, but every event, anything you're doing is going to trigger some sort of event, and then your event has some sort of payload, and then you have these event handlers that do something based on your event. And so that could be writing to like a client state, or it could be routing you somewhere.
Okay, and actually Anna in the chat has asked, with client scripts, is that how we could update components based on changes? Example being a data set that updates with the filters that are selected.
Yeah, so the client scripts themselves, they I think they really exist to so from a client script, you're either emitting an event, you're writing to the client state, maybe, or you are calling a data resource. But you can do all of those things without writing a script. Usually, the reason you're writing a script is because you're like building some sort of payload, or you need to put different values together and write that to a client state parameter. So it's really you're doing similar things, as you might do from an event handler, right? So my event handler, I can call a client script, write to the client state, do all sorts of things. I just can't do anything to the data beforehand when I write to it. So the client script is really a way to let you massage your data a little bit before you send it somewhere.
Okay, so
Um,
between
so
components on the page, for example, or combining
yeah,
multiple components and saying, right, pass those two things to another component, for example.
yeah. So this week's blog, keep coming back to it. I remember what I wrote it about now. But there's a video in it where I think in the video I've got a simple list, and then I have a button that says show me my open to-dos and a button that says show me my completed to-dos. And so clicking on a button changes my client state parameter. That's my to-do filter. And so clicking those buttons basically toggles the value of that. And then I have on my list, I have the filter on my list bound to that client state parameter. And so I actually am running a client script uh, because it lets me kind of build my filter a little easier from the client script. So that blog should help kind of show you how you might use a client script and how they all work together. It's like a 2-line client script, so it's pretty straightforward. But yeah.
So, in terms of the what I learned this week for myself, and when I say that, I mean in the last 7 days, not since Monday. I've not learned that much since Monday, but over the weekend, and from last Tuesday, one of my first learnings, and you see it in the description, is to read the manual, right? So Brad, I don't know if it's been frustrating for you, but you've been putting out all this content, telling people this is how it works, and then I'm asking you, how does this work? And you're like, I'm pretty sure I've written that
No,
down in
I
the
mean,
blog.
yeah, part of the reason we do that is so that when we get a question, I mean, it's the reason like most of us do things like this or blogs or, when you get the same question, more than once, it's like, all right, it's time for me to write this
Yeah.
down somewhere publicly so then I can reference it.
And it's good for your own reference as well, right? You write something down,
Yeah,
you'll refer back to them yourself because you can't remember it all.
definitely.
Yeah, so yeah, I would recommend it to everybody basically. Like, get in there, try and use it, figure it out, struggle because it's going to feel so different if you've been working with ServiceNow for any length of time. But the thing for me that's not different is what's going on underneath with ServiceNow, right? You've still got your tables, you've still got your relationships, you've still got your workflows. Everything that we've built so far all still makes sense. And now UI Builder is the thing that the customers have been really waiting for. And we've got a bit of work to do to get over the hump of the learning curve. But literally, this is priority number one for me, just because I want to see it. I want to see it working. I want to make it happen. And when it comes out of the box, when those templates start to trickle down from the mothership, then I think we'll all be like many steps ahead. But yeah, definitely reading the manual. Go back to the beginning as well. Don't just read the latest one. Read the first one, and once you've struggled, and then go back to the docs as well. I found it super useful to kind of go, oh right, that's what that means now. I understand that bit. And like tonight, I learned there's a client state bit. So when I was looking at these components before, I was like, what's client state over here in the config? Yeah, I was like, what? I don't know what elements list is, but there is some stuff that, yeah, here's state, and I didn't know this state was actually a little setting down in the left hand menu. So I was just wondering from Anna, she said, is that how we could update components based on changes? So something like a list components, that's already built in though, right? It's in the component itself. I'm just trying to hide from Zoom. Zoom's trying to take up. I'll put you up there. Okay. From up here. So in this component, so this whole thing is a component, and I've got a filter in it here. So all of this is set within the filter within the component. The component's passing itself events around, right? But when you want to access or pass things into that component that from elsewhere on the page, that's when a client script is going to be like give us that extra power.
Yeah, so you don't necessarily have to use a client script, but that's when the client script does let you, build a payload or something like that, right? Like every component has a set of properties, so things you can pass into it, and then it has events, so ways that it can then interact with the rest of the page once you do something. And it may be doing something like clicking, or it may be, data resources have events as well, like when they've started loading or when they've finished loading, they fire events, and you can do things based on that. So definitely check out the events tab on any of the components or data resources you're using, because a lot of them have like a whole lot of events. I think the list one has a pretty good amount. Yeah.
So are these events,
so a lot of those things that you're clicking on, sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry, I interrupted you. I just got excited. So these events here are defined by the component itself. So a different component will have different events, right? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, well, it's all starting to make sense. I'm still trying to get over my failing on the Hacktoberfest, where we had to get. I never got a T-shirt basically because you had to do four commits. I think we got our CLI set up by the end of the Friday or something. We had our command line set up and like, right, now what? And yeah, we tried to take on a lot that weekend. So that's really good to know. Upside Down Andrew's just tuned in as well. I can't twist Brad around for for him. But yeah, thanks Andrew for logging on. And Anna says the example I've been trying to work through is with the tab filter component and the data set. But yeah, still stumbling around. Just keep stumbling, Anna, basically. Sorry, Brad.
No, I am planning on writing about how to use that tab component, but I think there's a new. Did we talk about there's a new YouTube video series that somebody released? It's got like 10 videos in it, and I think it's all UI Builder. And I think one of them, I haven't been able to watch them all yet, but one of them is tabs. I think it may be the same person that did ServiceNow Ninja, but I'm having trouble remembering exactly what it is.
I saw that on LinkedIn just before I was kind of frantically trying to have dinner, get the kids to bed, post on LinkedIn that Brad was going to be on, set up the technical stuff, and I saw this post, and to be honest, it passed me by. But yeah, if I can get hold of that link, it's not showing in my feed right now, I will share that as well. And I think we've got to try and just bring all together the all the different content that's going on at the moment. Yes, ServiceNow.
It'll get there. I mean, yeah, when Service Portal came out, it was kind of similar. You know, we were kind of starving for Service Portal enablement and materials, and it got there eventually.
It got there. So Andrew says, is this the ServiceNow Ninjas thing? Yeah, so they've got a page, like a website, which is linked in the description, but there's a video series now as well. So I haven't got through all of that, but I'm just looking at the time, and we've got, say, 5 minutes on the clock. What can we do with 5 minutes, Brad? Is there anything that we can do about this custom list component, or should we like talk about something else? Because as you know, I didn't have a plan much other than what have I learned this week. I think I've shared that. I think we have achieved some stuff. You've talked about your new blog. What else is is there anything in UI Builder that you're still trying to get your head around, that's your next kind of, what have you got to work out, or do you feel like you've got the whole thing sussed and you've just got to get the message over to people?
Yeah, I think this week I'm finally feeling like I could take on some project where I had to actually build an experience for somebody. There's still I think I understand how, you really need to understand how data resources and client state parameters and client scripts work, and then how they tie into events and properties and components. And, that took some time to get my head wrapped around that. We have some internal enablement materials that I've been able to go through. And so, I've got a bit of a head start on everybody. But there's still some details configuring portal headers, and we mentioned the list filter tabs and things like that. And modals is something I may write about. Modals next week, I'm not sure. Okay. But there's a lot of kind of edge things like that I still need to figure out how they work.
So on the modals, where it says modal in the UI Builder, and I've just I stopped the share, and we're together on the screen, so just to try and wrap up. But the modals there, it's not like SP modal where it pops up in the screen, or is it? Can I put whatever I want in a modal now?
Yeah, you can. So I've seen some modals that people have created, and yeah, you can do a lot of customization with, what shows up in the modal, what the buttons look like, and what everything does. I mean, it's all, you're configuring properties and events. And then, yeah, what it is that they do.
And on the portal stuff, with portal, is it that the components that we build, if we built our own custom components, or the components that are coming along out of the box, over 100 released in Quebec, are those components for consumption in the portal, or is it that I build a new portal using UI Builder, but it's a different app shell? But have I got to rebuild all of my portals now, or is it can I transition over and start using components side by side?
Like in Service Portal?
Yeah, Service Portal. Yeah.
So when you're saying, yeah, you cannot use components in Service Portal or widgets in UI Builder. So, if you want to start using components, you'll be, using that in UI Builder. And the Quebec version of UI Builder is really, there to help you, work with the CSM configurable workspace. And then I can't say that. There will be some custom portals and workspaces that you can create. But if you need to migrate your ITSM service portal if you want to do that to Now Experience, this Quebec is probably not the release that you'll be able to do that. So I think we're still waiting on, things from the other VUs.
But so when we say portal, though, in UI Builder with the portal app shell, it is for the end user to consume it. It's no longer the agent workspace backend fulfiller type role. It is for somebody to come in and say, I want this on my, I need a new piece of software, whatever.
Yeah. So the two main app shells that we have right now are the workspace and the portal. And so they are for, workspaces for agents basically, and portals are for, end users, or really, when I think about portals, it's, somebody should be able to come in and use a portal with no training, so it's a more guided experience than you're going to get from even Agent Workspace or just your standard platform UI.
Excellent. Well, I've got 100 more questions, Brad, but we don't have the time for that. One thing I would say for anyone as well that hasn't already, check out Catalog Builder that's using UI Builder. That's a great experience for building catalogs. So I think that's also something that's going to be very interesting. It's not quite UI Builder building your own experience, but it changes the experience of building a catalog, and I think that's an excellent kind of demonstration of what's going to be possible. But I'm just checking out final comments on the chat. So awesome stuff is coming. And Brad, thank you so much for joining me tonight. And I really appreciate that. I'm going to try and end it somehow gracefully. If I can just find the right background. I think I've got it. So stay tuned. I don't know when
thanks
the next
for having me
show will
on.
be. Yeah, thanks for coming and tune in for Live Code and Happy Hour on Friday with the proper dev team. So thank you so much, and take
we'll
care,
be doing
Brad.
more. Oh, sorry. We'll be doing more UI Builder on Friday.
More UI Builder on Friday. Live Code and Happy Hour at the usual time. So stay tuned for that on the ServiceNow Dev channel. So thanks, Brad. Yep. Thanks, everybody.